What's up, mofos? Glenn here from Good Movie Monday. And Ben over there. How's it going, Ben?
Good. Not as good as you with that intro, but I did
Wasn't.
listen to some Tone Loc earlier today on the radio, so I feel like you know, got some cool happening, right?
You know,
You listen to Tone Loc
Tone looks great.
or Young MC.
Bust it.
Yeah. I listen to Bust It and Funky Cole Medina. I think Cole Medina. I don't actually know Cole Medina.
It's all about Tyler Perry.
Wild Thing. It's all good.
Yeah. We spoke about Disney dumping a whole lot of news on us last week on the podcast. That is, so you go back to yesterday's podcast. Go back to yesterday's podcast if you haven't listened to it. I raved all about it, but Ben's interview with the Sky Sharks director was just the best. I loved it. So, but Disney have released a whole lot of information about upcoming stuff that they're doing, and most people in, I guess, the world nerdgasm in over all this, but I'm not. This does not do it for me because I'm just not a huge fan of the Marvel stuff. Star Wars, I can take or leave, so it's not something that sort of wets my whistle like it does with a lot of people. But we'll go over it just for the sake of everybody else. What about you? What about you? Do you love this stuff?
I enjoy it when I see it. I don't spend an overt amount of time thinking about it, or afterwards, before, during, or after I'm watching any of them. I'm glad they exist. I used to be a lot more interested in this stuff, but I've kind of over the years I've just moved away a bit from it, but I'm glad they're making it. Keeps those franchises alive and stuff, and helps the comics.
Yes,
which is the most important thing. Keeps those things being published.
So last week it was at what they call the Investor Day, and they announced a whole lot of Marvel stuff, a whole lot of Star Wars stuff, a whole lot of Disney animation projects and Disney Plus streaming service stuff. The Disney Plus stuff, there's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I don't know much about. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I'm assuming. I mean, look, Falcon and Captain America was a kind of derivative of the original Captain America comic. They at some point, I'm not sure when in the thing, somewhere in the hundreds.
Yep.
Issue kind of hundreds, it changed and became Captain America and Falcon. So I'm assuming that this is kind of a spin-off of that, because
it has to be, because of Winter Soldier and
Captain America is dead in the movie verse.
Yep.
And Falcon has yet to, because it did happen in the Steve Rogers would regularly die in the comic book series, and there'd be a whole bunch of, if it wasn't Steve Rogers, it'd be his sidekick Bucky, who is the Winter Soldier, would die, and Falcon would step in to replace him, or it was D-Man and Nomad, a whole bunch of kind of guys would fill in as the Captain America sidekick. So I'm assuming that's this series is just like a buddy cop, a superhero, buddy superhero kind of thing, where they solve crimes in their spare time, I guess.
Maybe, but a couple of others. These are event series too, so I'm guessing they'll only go for maybe 6 to 8 episodes. Probably only have one season.
These days, the TV shows go. I haven't seen a TV show in a long time that goes the full 24 episodes like they used to.
No,
but 12 episodes seems to be the limit these days.
Yeah,
from 8 to 12.
But when they say event series, it usually just means a one-off. They don't usually go for a second.
Season.
Yeah, with the exception of X-Files, they did 2 event seasons. But the other one was Loki with Tom Hiddleston. That one's coming in May, I think it is. WandaVision. I don't know what WandaVision is. It's Marvel, but I don't know what that is. Have you heard about that?
It's the Scarlet Witch and Vision from the Avengers movies, and I think it's done like a kind of a 50s like family sitcom, because they they're married and he's an android and she's a mutant, and that's the rub. It's like I Dream of Jeannie kind of thing, but the other way around.
You can tell how much I love this stuff. All right, let's have a look. We've got Hawkeye coming as well. There's
very excited about that, because I think it's actually I love, as a in the comic books, I always loved Hawkeye. It's always my favorite character.
Okay,
I mean, although I do very much agree with the SNL when they had Jeremy Renner was a guest host on SNL, and they had him as they did the Avengers parody, and Terry Manning's like, "Oh, quick, shoot those aliens!" He goes, "Can't." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, I'm out of arrows. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I've got no left. I shot them all. He's like, but there's thousands of aliens out there. He's like, yep, and I killed 5 of them. You're welcome.
Uh,
It's a very good bit.
so what else they got? What If is coming.
Now it's an animated show, so that is great because what if the premise behind the What If comics were these kind of alternate timeline type things where what if Steve Rogers was in the spaceship with the rest of the Fantastic Four when they got blasted by gamma rays or whatever, and so Captain America becomes a member of the Fantastic Four, and it's all these kind of insane ideas, and the fact that they're doing that series as an animated series means they can actually fully explore that idea rather than be limited by the technology.
Mm-hmm.
By the special effects, so that looks like it could be interesting.
Excellent. I think there's a Shield series called I think it's Secret Invasion. This one's got Ben Mendelsohn in it with Samuel L. Jackson coming back.
Right.
I'm really excited.
Samuel L. Jackson doing TV.
Yeah. I mean, this is all. I mean, obviously, Disney are doing a massive shift from theatrical to streaming. Like, there's a huge push here. So I think this is Samuel L. Jackson sort of just making that transition. Getting ahead of the curveball, I guess.
Well, I mean, look, the new frontier for movies and TV is the streaming services. So I think Disney are really kind of trying to amp that up. Disney do have a problem with their streaming services because the Disney brand is so family oriented. It doesn't leave them much leeway, even though the Disney studios produced a lot of relatively adult content, especially under during the Michael Eisner years when they did things like buy Miramax and had Pulp Fiction in the library and all that sort of stuff. And their streaming service is to a degree limited, but they do also own a majority share of Hulu. So I suppose they could funnel some of that stuff there. But I did notice recently when looking at Disney Plus that there some more kind of adult stuff is creeping in, but it is still very much on the they do have what's the Hawaiian Cowboy one with James Garner and stuff, but they're still kind of the classic family Disney movies.
I'm still very underwhelmed by Disney Plus. It didn't live up to the promise of when it was launched that it would have every Disney film ever made, bar 3 controversial ones, that kind of stuff. I've got a Disney shelf, in the other room that's got far more movies on it than what the bloody platform does.
I just wish they'd put that the Disney Hour, the TV show that they used to, all of those it turned out to be pilots for a lot of TV series and stuff, but that's where the Sidekicks pilot was, which was I think the Electric Knight, I think it was called, but Mr. Boogedy, all that sort of stuff. They were basically episodes of this TV series, which is a very British. Prior to that, it was a very British thing to do. They would do these kind of movie of the week things as a kind of a series, and each week would be a completely different kind of story. And Disney did a lot of these, and in Australia, they released them here as features, even though despite their 65-minute run times. So I just wish it's like a who's who of you can't any actor from that period, they're all there. Why is that not on there?
That was the promise from the get-go, that it would have everything that they've done. Maybe,
but that's it's like Ozflix, every Australian movie ever, and then they had to quickly on their launch day amend that to ... eventually.
Yeah. What else we got here? So, what's his name? James Gunn announced that there was the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming, which is a very sort of tongue-in-cheek reference to the Star Wars holiday special. So
it can't be any worse than that. So that'd be great.
He's directed it, and I believe from what I was reading, it's going to have that kind of deliberate hokey feel to it.
Right. I'd prefer it if it was more like those the British. Was it Mr. Ploppy or whatever his name is? Those the series where where it was they used to do them in America as well with like Bing Crosby and stuff, where you'd be in his house at Christmas and he'd just start talking to the camera about, well, it's Christmas time again. Here I am at the old piano, and oh, is that the doorbell? He goes, who is it? It's my old friend David Bowie. David, would you like to do a song with me? That kind of stuff. It'd be great.
Would be. The closest we've had to that recently was that Bill Murray Christmas special, which I think was fantastic.
Yeah, Murray Christmas, yeah.
All right, so some of their theatrical things, they've announced Black Panther 2, and they're not going to be recasting Chadwick Boseman. We were speculating off mic that they would just hand it down to his little sister.
Yeah, which is a very interesting move and could be
Yeah,
a lot of fun, I think.
it builds upon that diversity that they've modelled the franchise around, which is good.
Yeah.
They've announced the third Ant-Man, which everybody knew was coming anyway.
I
Doctor
just worry that
Strange.
the cast are getting a bit old. Like
Yeah,
you look at him, you look at him in the second one, and you're like, "Oh, the cracks are starting to show."
they're all coming back too. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as well, which I believe has been rumored to be an R-rated kind of film, which in Australia is probably MA.
Right.
Very dark. And the third Spider-Man movie as well, which is going to be looking to do like a Spider-Verse, like they did with the animated film. So they've got
Right.
the previous Spider-Mans coming back. So you've got Tobey Maguire and whatever that middle one was called, Garfield,
Andrew Garfield.
yeah, coming back.
Are they going to
And
get like Red Brown from the '60s series? Is he still around?
no idea. That'd be cool.
It'd be cool if they. I mean, they could just put someone in the suit.
But imagine if they then combined the Into the Spider-Verse animated Spider-Man into it.
Yeah, Spider Pig, all that sort of stuff. It'd be great.
Yep. And then finally, they're redoing Fantastic Four again.
Again, third time lucky.
Man.
But at least this time it actually is Marvel doing it, not who was it? Fox.
Yeah.
Did Fox have the rights before, and they was it 3 movies? Not one of them good.
No, not one. That, and in fact, those hokey first 2 were far better than that reboot that they did.
I mean, like, yes, I guess they kind of were, but I did enjoy the beginning. I enjoyed the origin part of the with Reed making things in the garage and kind of starting in the school. Like I enjoyed that part of it. Once they got the powers, that's when it went off the rails for me. But
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I do think that's better than, was it the second one where it's Galactus and we don't really have budget for Galactus, so we're just going to make it a nebulous cloud.
Well, it's clearly
that the Silver Surfer flies in and out of.
It's clearly a formula that just does not translate well to the big screen. Like, I mean,
to be honest, it doesn't really translate that well in the comics either. Like Fantastic Four were famous because they were essentially Marvel's first comic book.
Mm-hmm.
They were their first superhero kind of comic. So it's always been one of their flagship titles.
Yeah.
But it is, I think, look, I wouldn't want to be quoted, but I think more than any other series in the Marvel universe, that's the one that's been rebooted the most.
Yep.
Because there's zero room to introduce new characters or anything fresh. It has to be those 4. Even though for a while She-Hulk was in there and they did have, some people dropped in and out, but it was still always had to be 4. X-Men could have 30 friggin' mutants in the team at any given time, and they'll split off and have different teams and go to different countries and do all sorts of different shit. Fantastic Four was always just stuck in there, even in the cartoon when they replaced the Human Torch with the robot because they didn't want kids playing with fire. Like that was about as crazy as it got.
Yep. Man, I still.
I'm just talking nonsense to you, aren't I? You have no idea.
I'm paying attention, but I'm just.
I know you're paying attention, but like I'm just right over your head. Like you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen any of that. I don't care about any of that shit.
No, but we're doing this for other people. Like I established in my first sentence that this is stuff I don't really care about.
You don't care about, yeah. And we haven't even got to Star Wars.
Well, let's move on to that. Before we do, we'll just. Lucasfilm in general, because they did announce, as Guillermo said in his segment yesterday on the podcast, that Indiana Jones is finally off and running. So number 5 with James Mangold directing, which we already knew about, but the confirmation that the production started is what the news there is.
Yeah. Have they? Who's it's Shia LaBeouf returning?
No,
as
but
Mutt.
Harrison Ford is, but how much of a pivotal role he plays is
Will Ryan Gosling, like Blade Runner, will Ryan Gosling play, will there be a handoff?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I had always wanted that rumor of Chris Pratt coming into the franchise being a thing, because I think he would have been perfect. I think, they would have been better just rebooting with a brand new actor, a young Indiana Jones. Like, not young as in the child, like...
The TV series?
I'm talking like a 30-year-old.
Well, funnily enough, I reckon Sean Patrick Flannery would probably be close to the right age now.
Yeah, true.
He still looks boyish.
No, he's had like all that work done on his face. Do you remember when he rocked up in Boondock Saints 2?
No, I haven't seen Boondock Saints 2. I didn't know that he'd messed with himself.
He's all Botoxed up and
no. So does he look like Does he look like Mickey Rourke now?
Oh, have you seen the Croods too? This is
No,
I'll
no.
connect the dots. Oh, there's a scene in Croods 2 where the chick gets stung by a bee and her hand turns into a balloon
Right.
and makes balloon sounds when you touch it. That's what his face looks like
Face
in
looks like.
Boondock Saints
Oh
2.
no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway, into the Star Wars stuff. 10 new shows for Star Wars.
Jesus.
We've got 2 new shows that have been spun off from The Mandalorian. What do we got?
Baby Yoda and the other the bounty hunter character, or whatever her name is, Gina Carano.
Hang on, what's it called? The Mandalorian Rangers of the New Republic. And
Okay, all the other Mandalorians. Yeah, cool.
And Ahsoka. I think that's how you pronounce it.
That means nothing to me, but yeah.
Yeah, me neither. Like,
it's a Star Wars.
I know
it's a Star Wars name. It's better. You better. It's like when you read fantasy novels. Like reading them is excellent. Talking about them out loud makes you sound like an idiot. You're like, I can't pronounce any of these names.
That is far more entertaining than anything we've dished up on this video yet. I did really enjoy Mandalorian, so these are more exciting for me. There's also Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which is another animated series of the Clone Wars, I guess. Looks like.
So they're dodgy clones. That's a good idea.
Diego Luna is coming back for a series about his character.
Okay.
What else have we got? The guy that directed the movie Russian Doll, the TV show Russian Doll. With Natasha Lyonne.
Natasha Lyonne, yeah.
He's
the
coming
Groundhog Day-esque show.
Yeah, he's coming in with a series called The Acolyte, which is somewhere in the Star Wars verse.
Like a Sith acolyte or something?
It just says that it's set
they're
in
apprentices. They're not really acolytes, are they? They're apprentices.
All they've given us is that it's set in the High Republic era of the franchise.
Okay.
And then the one that most people are excited about is there is an event series starring Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. And it's all about Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Christensen's returning as Darth Vader.
Right. That sounds horrible.
It does, but I'm like, that's got to be one of their priciest ones because Ewan McGregor wouldn't come back cheap.
I wouldn't have thought he'd be cheap, but he's too busy riding around the Africa in a motorcycle,
that's right.
To be honest, and dumping his wife of 20 years for Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, don't really have much to say about that, but
it's
interesting.
More.
I mean, surely in the interim, Hayden Christensen has taken some acting lessons. Is the real big question.
What was he in recently? He was in. I saw him. Oh no, it wasn't good at all. Oh, what was I talking about? The Little Italy. I've talked about that movie that my partner watches every night before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
He's the love interest with Emma Roberts, and it's like an Italian version of My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah, nothing like sounds super original and a must watch. Is it made by Hallmark?
No, but it looks like a Hallmark film. It's too comical for Hallmark.
Right. Okay.
Andrea Martin's in it, which cracks me up because she's in My Big Fat Greek Wedding playing a Greek auntie. In this one, she plays an Italian auntie.
One accent fits all, as they say.
3 more. Look, I'm running out of steam here because I just don't care about this stuff. We've got 3 more. We've got the Droid Story, which is a film about R2D2 and C3PO. Sorry, a TV show.
I hope it's like the cartoon. I really enjoyed that cartoon as a kid.
That was good.
Cartoon.
There is a new Lando series, but it's unconfirmed whether what's his name, Donald Glover or Lando.
Yeah.
Lando. What's his name? Billy D. Williams. Whether he's coming back.
Well, Billy D. Isn't he virtually in a wheelchair now? Billy D. Williams.
Well,
he was on Dancing with the Stars, but and that was a couple of years ago now. But he basically stood there while the female dancer just danced around him while he was like. At the end, he just like it was like watching an Aristocrats gag.
Which one of the Star Wars? Which one of the recent Star Wars did he return in?
I don't know. I slept through it. I saw it. Went to see.
It was
the last one. I haven't seen it all.
Well, that's the one he's in. That's why your reference doesn't align.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But even if he's in it, like I'm sure he's in it. I mean, they could Peter Cushioning him and just CGI his head onto someone.
They could cushion him in.
Yeah.
And to cap it all off, they're doing an anthology anime series as well. So that's that. You know, we're the only two watching this now. Like everyone's completely
No.
drifted off.
They like it. It's just you who doesn't like it.
But they don't like my delivery. I'm sure I've pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
Thanks for agreeing.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll catch you on Thursday.
We didn't even talk about Pixar.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's fine. Forget it. Yeah.
Yeah.